and welcome to another installment of If It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed, the Mind Management Mentors podcast. My name's Cuddy Cudworth, the UK's leading mind management coach. Somewhere in this podcast, we're going to have to put what we talked about before we mentioned. I love that. I'm going to come back to that in the podcast. Hi, I'm Cuddy Cudworth, as always. Thank you very much to 36,000 subscribers on the podcast right now. I've never met this gentleman that we're going to be having on the podcast today, but as we know, the Mind Management Mentors podcast is all about helping coaches grow their business, talking about mindset and mental health, and working in the workplace wellness. And today, we're going to hit a couple of those angles, which is going to be sales, something that has been a mystery on my journey as a coach, to be fair. I think it is a minefield, and I know that people have to get over some belief systems within themselves for sales. What's the difference between sales and marketing? I still think that's an absolute minefield as well. But today, that's what we're going to talk about. That is exactly what we're going to talk about. So as if you were on, in America, you would call the dating game. In the UK, we had a game show called The Blind Date.
Right.
And we would always ask you, what's your name? Where do you come from? And what do you do? So Stephen, go.
My name is Stephen Ley. I'm from originally New York City and now living in New Jersey in USA. I help businesses and sales professionals increase their revenue, enjoy their job more through coaching, training, and HR consulting. That's basically it.
HR consulting as well.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm certified.
We'll not talk about certification at the moment, but that's actually quite funny. Right, we need a proper chat then, because I work with HR individuals all over the world. I didn't know that. I thought we were talking about sales.
Well, that's how they know. So I was a salesperson. I worked for a payroll company, and part of their sales process is HR. So I said, well, why don't I just get that certificate so I could broaden myself and talk to people exactly, about what they want to talk about and be certified in it. Yeah. And be more knowledgeable. But also helps you with your sale. When you're certified, people listen to you more.
But do they though? Right, this is a good conversation. I told you the podcast was
Yeah.
organic, so we actually don't know
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
going to go sometimes.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
let's start with the whole certification thing, right?
Okay.
Because I work a lot with woo-woo. We'll come back to what we said. I work a lot in woo-woo. And you
Okay.
said the exact thing was, well, certificate. What did you say? Because I thought it made me laugh. And I'm
People
like,
listen to you more.
I did. I just was like, that makes a really good point. So I work in woo-woo. I'm
Right.
psychosensory therapy, NLP, which I know some people say is a
Yeah.
pseudoscience, but I just know how the brain works because of NLP and all those kind of things. And you wanted to know that you were certified, and I was like, well, what's the difference? And I said, well, I work with woo-woo. What was it you exactly said about certification and woo-woo?
It was certified. It wouldn't be woo-woo.
If it was certified, it wouldn't be woo-woo. I love
Yeah.
that. If it was certified, if woo-woo was a certified practice, it wouldn't be woo-woo.
Woo-woo.
And I love that.
It
I
would be
thought that was
woo-woo.
absolutely fantastic. And I asked you, what does certified? So I remember on my journey of coaching and
Yep.
understanding therapy, understanding counseling, and there was a big body, and this is not shaming any of the coaching foundations around the world or
Right.
anything like that,
Right.
ICF or I know there's so many other different bodies, and people will pay £10,000, $20,000, whatever, for coaching to say that they're certified. And
Yep.
I did the bunny ears on that one. And then I kind of thought, well, do you know what? Let me, because this was a fear that popped up for me when I first started in the coaching space. And I was like, well, hang on a minute. Let me find out if Tony Robbins is certified, if Mel Robbins is certified, if all these big gurus, big
Yeah.
types, Gary Vaynerchuk, I think Gary Vaynerchuk is great. All the, like, none of them are certified.
Well, because they create the certification.
Because they
So,
create the certificates, they
right,
create the certification.
all of them came before certification became a thing. I mean, 25 years ago, 20 something, yeah. I was at Verizon. I worked for at Verizon, and I was certified in their sales training co program.
Yeah.
It was sales training, coaching, mentoring program. And it wasn't that much. It was just very long, but it was a lot of on the job kind of work. And that's where I was a sales coach and trainer. But even before then, I've been coaching people since I'm, 15 years old, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and this is before, I mean, 25 years ago, somebody said, "Hey, why don't you get your certification?" I said, "I've been doing this so long. It just started."
Jim
What?
Rohn.
And the thing about it is when someone asked me before, "Hey, are you certified?" And I'm like, "Well, I have my SHRM certification." That trumps everything, you know? So I don't need a coaching certificate to say I'm SHRM certified because part of that certification is coaching. You learn how to coach. That's part of it. So it's not necessary, but it really depends on how you come across. And some people are really hung up on certification, which I don't understand. Um, but if you're speaking the game, you walk the walk, talk the talk, then that's all you need to do.
I agree with that. And I know that I mean, I work with trauma. Well, it's not that I work with trauma. It's just it always seems that when I work with certain clients, trauma pops up.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
you
all trauma.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we've all got trauma, to be fair. I talked about
Yeah.
this at a meeting a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, look, everybody has trauma. It depends on whether it defines us. There's a difference between does that
Yeah.
define us?
It's all fear based.
It is fear-based. There is a lot of that. There absolutely is a lot of that. And you know what? Talking about fear-based sales, for some people, no, I think it's a great seg. That
Oh,
was a good
yeah.
segue.
That's a good segue. It's the easiest job to have.
I-
It's the hardest job to have, easiest job to have. It's easy to do, but hard to accomplish.
So, first of all, define what's the difference between sales and marketing.
Okay. So marketing is attracting people to talk to you. That's all there is. And there's a process right there where it stops and becomes sales is when you get a lead. The lead is when a person says, yes, I'm interested. Then it becomes a lead. Okay. Before that, it's just marketing. And there's some overlap when you start developing a relationship with someone, it could be part of marketing, email generation, things like that. But that's where the cutoff is.
And what's more important, marketing or sales?
Oh, you have to have both.
I like that. It's not a chicken and egg scenario, then is it?
Oh no, they're not mutually exclusive. They have to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So for you, Stephen,
yeah,
you who's worked in HR, has done networking. I know you said you'd watched a previous podcast where I was talking to the networking guy, which is Mike Holman.
right.
However, sales creates a certain feeling. I still don't like being sold to.
No one does.
Whenever I still hear, I get some WhatsApp messages, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, fuck
yeah,
off. What you doing? I don't even know you. Piss off. I still get phone calls from random people.
yeah, yeah.
And I know they're not even. By the way, if anyone's watching this podcast right now, if you want to avoid a lot of your phone calls that are either messages or sales calls or spam, whatever you want to call them, wherever the world, don't speak for the first 3 seconds of the phone call. I just hold the phone. And then when there's no answer or there's a message comes in, then I delete. I don't start talking first. That's something I learned
It-
about a
it's
year
it's
ago.
funny when we do this. When we do this, kids don't know what that means.
No, because who's got that? No.
That's what they
What's that symbol? What's the
like
button
doesn't
with
know what it
that?
means.
I don't talk anymore. I wait for 3 seconds
So,
before
yeah,
I
it's gonna be
delete.
this. Yeah,
So, Stephen, you're all the way from New York. Thank you very much for getting in contact with me about coming on the podcast. And sales is something that coaches need to learn. So, we're going to
yeah,
go through Stephen's process of sales and how you've come to where you are now that you help other businesses grow their sales.
yes. So, mostly no one goes to training for sales. 85% of businesses go out of business because of cash flow problems. But only 10 to 15% actually seek out sales training. So there's a right there, 85%, go out of business, they don't have enough money, but only 15% look for sales training. Doesn't make any sense. So what I do is I do a couple of different things when I talk to, I'm a trainer and a coach. One is to think like a salesperson. So a lot of other companies actually promote sales training as a process, which is true. It should be a process, it is a process, but the thought process is follow this roadmap, but not to think like one. If you start thinking like one, that roadmap becomes really easy. So the first part of that process is mental health, positive mental health. 20% of the population suffers depression. Salespeople is 40%. Three,
Wow.
3% of the population suffers bipolar disorder. Entrepreneurs, it's 11%.
Well, hang on. Say that again.
3% of the population suffers bipolar disorder.
Right.
11% in entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Well, if you think about it, it suits the the sales process better. So if you're in sales, especially if you're a business owner, you could hide. Salespeople could hide, you know, and it was when you have ups and downs. Then you what you could do is you could actually look at the downside. Okay, I'm not going to do anything today. I get very manic later on, and you can work it out if you're in sales. It also feeds the manicness. The manicness. I don't know if that's a real word, but it helps you when you're manic. It helps you feed that.
I like the way this conversation is going, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
bipolar too. I'm bipolar too. And there was a time when I was actually walking to the office and I could literally thought that I can't be killed. Literally, I couldn't get killed. I was so manic. And one year I was selling an alarm system, home alarm system. I sold 400 in one year. I sold 9 in one day. Go to people's houses and selling them. That's how manic I was. And then there's a big drop afterwards. And that's where the problem comes. So it's that roller coaster that's the problem. And people go into sales and people don't go into sales anymore. They stop going into sales. It's because of the emotional roller coaster is. Everybody could take, hey, everybody could take, a no, but they can't take the no and the yes and the no and, oh, well, I changed my mind. That kind of thing is what people can't take. It's a lot of heartbreak. It's a lot
Interesting.
of heartbreak in sales.
Well, it is,
It's I love you, but it's heartbreak.
but by the way, I think this is a fantastic subject, and it's scary how well timed this podcast is for the viewers that I have, especially the term bipolar.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming on and talking about this. And I think this is going to be very well received, by the way, Stephen. I genuinely do. So I want to say thank you very much for sharing that. And I'm going to hold my bias of bipolar to the side a little bit as well. No, I am. I am. Because I have a cognitive bias towards labels. And you have to be open and honest about these things, especially if someone's going to watch a podcast and say, I don't have any cognitive bias. I want to, learn and understand. And I'm trying to put that bias to the side, and I definitely want to learn more about these things. So thank you very much for coming on, Stephen. So I think this is going to be a fascinating conversation. That's probably not the way I thought it was going to go in any way whatsoever. And I did tell you, I did say that we'll keep it open and organic.
Yeah.
So, your sales protocols, if you like, for a mental health kind of part of it. So, help people with their mental health while doing sales. Because it can
Well,
be
no,
frustrating.
it's more the other way. So in
No, right,
sales,
perfect.
we talk about the mindset of the prospect or the client, but we never talk about the mindset of the salesperson.
Nice.
That's not in a process. It's like just go do it and just be quiet. And there's a lot in there that if you are like my wife teaches yoga and meditation. So we came up with this little card, okay? And basically it's did you go through it every single day, 4 times a day, 7, 12, 5, and 10. You ask yourself a series of questions about your mood, your attitude, your presence, and it feels like your being. And that grounds you at that moment so you can be best you could be, right? So that's important to focus on that. And there's other things about, how do you train your mind of actually looking at what's happening now and not other things that you have no control over. There's a whole process you go through. It only takes a minute to do, right? So we talk about that and about, perseverance and then, patience. Sales is a faith-based job. You have to
Like,
believe.
in something.
Yeah, no, you have to believe that the system will work. Whatever system you work,
Oh,
you have
okay.
to believe it's going to work. You have to have faith in yourself, you know. And why people fail at it is because the thing about sales is it's going to happen. You don't know when or how. You don't know how much, you don't know when. And you have to have faith it's going to happen. If your product is good and your process is good, you have to have faith it's going to happen. Because if not, you give up. And that's what a lot of salespeople do. They give up. And the business owners give up easier. I mean, they'll send out one email and say, "Oh, I followed up and that's it." And we know that doesn't work.
What's the general ratio for follow-ups? Is it 12,
Oh, yeah,
12
it
steps?
changes. I mean, it's up to 22 I've heard. It doesn't really make a difference. It just means a lot.
I think that's why it's so frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, because
Yeah, there's no immediate gratification to it. And that's most salespeople, and I tell this, they really don't care if they get the sale. Okay. They want to have an opportunity to sit down with somebody. It's like a baseball player. If he's hitting 300, he's going to Hall of Fame. That's 3 out of 10. So they just want to get up and try. That's what most salespeople want to do. Because there's a mental thing is that so if you're looking for the sale, you're actually in the process, your adrenaline's going up, and then they say yes, your adrenaline pops down again. And you're like, I needed more. I need more of that adrenaline. I need more of that chemical in
it's
my
the
head.
feeling. Yeah, it's that high that you're
Oh,
you're
it's a high. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I was manager, it was like basically if you're at that high, let's say the client calls and says, I can't make it, and it's 3 o'clock, and they said, I can't make it in 15 minutes, and the adrenaline starts to flow down because now you're like, okay, I'm not going to have that opportunity to do it. So you have to keep up. So that means the worst thing to do is have a cup of coffee. No, you got to keep it up. Call people, keep that adrenaline up. And that's the basic. And at the end of the day, you should be exhausted. And that's also for business owners. Their primary job is to raise money. Their primary job is to sell. And most people don't know that.
I think whenever you own your own business, the primary job is going to be it's going to be sales.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Stephen, this was a fascinating chat. Now let's go into Stephen Leshy's. I said that right, Leshy, right?
You said it perfectly.
I
Thank you.
get in there. Stephen Leshy's sales seminar right now, live on the Mind Management Mentors podcast. Stephen, by the way, before we go into this, I know that we've been in contact for about 3 months, and this podcast was supposed to happen about 4 or 5 times, but getting
Yeah.
cancelled. And genuinely, after about sometimes 3 people letting me down, I'm like, fuck it, I can't be asked. They're not coming on the podcast. But actually, I don't know why you keep getting back in contact. I'm like, yeah, actually, sales. I don't consider myself the best salesperson. So I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
I'll
yes, you are.
I'll I'll
Yes, you are.
use this
Every
podcast.
every everybody's a salesperson, even if they don't know it.
I'm very good for other people's because we were talking about the BNI. I'm in a BNI. I'm great at doing
Yeah.
sales for other people's businesses. And then I have an expectation. I'm like, well, they can all do the sales for me now in the BNI. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, nah, this is just not working. But that's a me problem, not a them problem in any way
All right. So
whatsoever.
so I've developed my own sales process, and it's kind of very relatable. And I say off the cuff, it's the easiest sales process known to mankind.
I'm ready. I'm all ears, Stephen.
And I tell people if after I tell you the sales process, if you say you can't do it, I will give you $100.
Right. I'm writing it down now. I'm going to
Okay,
start writing
Cody,
down the
I'm
notes.
gonna Venmo you $100 if you say at the end I can't do this.
Right. Let me get my
Okay?
pen.
All right, here we go. All right.
Step one.
Step one, if you compare your sales process, build a sales process, that's exactly the same as hosting a dinner party at your house. You go through the process, same exact thing. So if you're having a dinner party, you invite people. You invite people that are going to benefit from the meeting, from being there. You're going to be engaged. You're going to have people that could converse with you, an opportunity to talk to other people, and open to things, open to new things. Same thing in sales. You invite people that you could help, benefit from it, communicative, and it's going to be able to engage and be open to things.
It's a good start, by the way. I'm
And the
already
sales process,
visualizing the metaphor. I'm like, I like
exactly,
this.
exactly. And what you do then is that how do you invite them? The same way, text, email, and you're inviting them to the meeting or to the party. That's all you're inviting them to, right? Text, email, call, talk, whatever it may be. You have the process for that. And then if you get a reminder, you send it out to them and they RSVP'd, fine, if someone says yes. And there's where it comes no. All right. So people are like, oh, I don't want to hear no, I can't make the meeting or whatever. And I say, okay, so if you're at a party, you're going to develop a party and you invite somebody, they say no, what do you do? Invite someone else. You right, you just want to have people at the party. You really can't. At the end of the day, I want more bodies than opportunities. That's what I want. Right. And then they say yes. Right. Great. Decide kind of party, do some research. Hey, I'm going to find out if this person is lactose intolerant, if they like seafood, whatever it may be. Same thing in sales. You find out their background, what they do, what they like to do, to be better prepared when you talk to them. Simple. Hey, let's say you're going to try a new dish. You want to practice it, right? Try it a couple of times before you do it. Hey, same thing with a presentation. You want to practice it. Then they come to your house. What's the first thing you say to them? Welcome. Thank you for coming. You start building rapport, right? Same thing in sales. You build rapport. And throughout the whole night, what do you say? Hey, you want something to drink? Are you having a good time? We call that trial closing. All through the whole process, you say, hey, are you with me? Are you here with me? Can you use the services? You see how it can help you. That's the trial close. And then you actually present your meal. That's a presentation. And then you're looking for a compliment. The compliment, do you like the food? The close is, can you use our services? That's, hey, same thing. Now, if someone says, hey, I don't like the food, why? I'm sorry, I didn't know you're lactose intolerant. Would you like me to cook something else? You want some pepper? Same thing, it's an objection. Overcome rejection, same thing. Hey, do you like our services? Can we provide you something different? I didn't know you didn't have this opportunity. Let's talk about this.
Let me show you a different menu.
Exactly. Exactly. A different opportunity. Yep. So it's the same thing. Now, they say yes or no, whatever it is. The process is the same. And then you ended a meeting. They buy, don't buy. Doesn't make a difference. The process is the same. You do your backup. You do your final. When you're cleaning up, in a house party, you clean up and you talk to everybody. Hey, what about this? Who should we invite next time? What did you like? What did you like? Hey, Coco Vaughn didn't go very well. Whatever it may be. The sales process, you do a recall. The same thing. Hey, how did the meeting go? Did you get the sale? What could you say and what did you say? Then you go to the next level. All right. You send them a handwritten thank you card. That's one thing I tell all my clients to do is send out is a handwritten thank you card. It's the biggest return on investment. It's $1 here. Okay, 75 cents, whatever it may be. And the card, you can handwrite it. You get one at CVS and you get a whole box for like $15. But if you get a thank you card, there's so much emotion tied to it, people don't realize it. You look at it, it's written, you have to write in a script, and then the young guys with script, like, okay, you have to write in a script so people could have to read it, they can't scan it. They're going to look at it and say, oh, curiosity, I wonder who sent this to me. They're going to look at it, oh, wow. And they're going to open it, now satisfaction, wow, that's personal, something that's important. People spend time on. So that really touches people in a way that most people don't realize. And that card stays in your house 6 months. You clean either a spring cleaning or fall cleaning, that's when it goes away, but it's in your house, it's in your office all the time. You'll see one of my clients, I went there recently, he has all the Christmas cards I sent to him over the years.
Nice.
Because it's something special and it costs you. And a lot of younger folk doesn't like the process. They don't like the fact that they have to write out. And I had somebody, when they say, oh, we don't do that. And they were like 20 something years old. And I'm like, old school still works. Old school still works.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah. And I had someone, two guys I was working with, they developed websites. And I said, okay, I'm going to send you a thank you note. And they got the thank you note and they're like, that really was special. Yeah. Yeah. So you go through the process and thank you, and you don't send emails. Emails no one reads. But if you get a thank you in the mail, you're going to read it and open it up. Now, when was the last time you had somebody's undivided attention for moments?
I think that's a really powerful part, right? That even that little snippet there is a really powerful concept of I know how many emails I delete, but if I ever get a letter through the post, I actually do open it and read it.
Yeah, just curious. Yeah, yeah. It can even be junk mail. You still read it because you're
Do you know
curious what they
what?
have to say.
If it says to the proprietor or to the house, I still open it to make sure it's not something. Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I love it.
right.
So,
And then you go through the process, you finish up, and then we have okay. There's how do you ask referrals? Hey, who can we invite next year to the party? Same thing. Who didn't could use our services? Upgrade. You sell more to your client. Hey, you know a party I told you about? It's $35. Do you want me to buy you a ticket? Right? Same thing. Hey, let's talk about the other service you need. Let's talk about the opportunities or other problems I can solve for you. So that whole process is the same. Cuddy, can you do that?
I'm not asking for $100 from you. I found I love the metaphor of it and the simplicity of it
Yep.
because I don't think any part of that there was actually a sales thing in it. It was
Nope.
building rapport. Who can benefit from it? Who wants to obviously have to believe in your product and stuff like that? We can invite them by email, text, or WhatsApp. That's still an invite. We build them once they RSVP, which would be the call to action, and it's a no. Then you go, well, I can invite more people, or let me know why it's a no, so that then I can
Yeah.
accommodate that next time. But I like the fact that building rapport and that connection to somebody is just as important as actually what are you making the sale for.
Yeah. Connections are very interesting. We all connect with people in different ways. I mean, we have a relationship now. You have a relationship with every single person under the sun, every
Stephen, so
single
true.
person, right? It depends what the relationship is, depends on how you communicate. One of the things we do is we build relationships. But the things that most people don't do is show value to that relationship. So how am I important in your life, Cuddy, and how you're important in my life? I have to show to you, I have to exchange value with you, right? We're exchanging value right now. Right? Where relationships dies because no value has been exchanged.
That's very true. I'm thinking about my relationships. If there was no value either way, both ways, to be fair, then that
Right,
relationship is going to die. Yes.
right. And we
It's
don't check. So I used to work with accountants. I would actually make cakes for them and bring them to their birthday. So I'm looking for referrals from CPAs, and I bought them a birthday cake. What's the chance of me getting a referral? 100%.
and I think if you go like to a different level of that sales approach, every part of it is about making an individual touch as well. It's the touch points, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah. Yeah.
in sales, I know that they say you can have 8 touch points before you even get to talking about your product. There's 8 follow-ups, 8 to 12 follow-ups after you've had the actual sales conversation. I did a chat with somebody from India was getting in contact with me through my
Yeah.
network on the BNI. And I just went straight in and said, look, just send me a price list. They went, oh, no, it's not that easy. We've got to do this. We've got to do this. I'm like, just send me a price list. I've already looked at your brochure. I'm actually quite interested.
Right.
She went, oh, no, but I went, just send me the price list. But no, I've got to have a follow-up call with you before we even discuss. I'm like, just
Right.
send me I actually was like, just send me a price list. And I'd enjoyed
Please send me a price
I
list.
know I'd enjoyed the dinner experience, if you like. And she was like, oh, all right, okay, I'll do that then. And I was like, how nice is that? She went, well, no, this is not whether we're just making a connection now. So she was trying really hard to go through her sales process, which was to build the relationship, talk about my business, and do all these kind of things. And I was like,
Well, because she's reading from a process, she's reading from a script, basically saying I have to do the X, Y, and Z. Because statistically, the chance of closing is higher if you do this,
yeah,
and so she went through it, but she didn't think like a salesperson.
no, she was actually
Right,
a lovely
right,
conversation.
right. She was acting like a salesperson, not thinking like.
Yeah.
So what I do is let's think like one. So when I'm talking about, hey, let's talk about how do you really motivate somebody to change their mind? How do you actually show them that, it's important for them to be in your life and vice versa? And one thing that we lose is the wow factor. We've lost the wow factor. We've lost it. Okay. So I have to now wow my clients. So because all the noise that's out there, and the connection is more important than ever. How do I show that
People
person,
are
wow?
struggling for connection with the world
Right,
of
right.
AI.
That's
There's
why
no
that's why
connection.
BNI has grown. All these network groups are growing crazy because people realize at the end of the day, after all the noise is gone, it's person to person.
Yes.
So how do you wow that person in a sense? So I had a client where I told them they sell insurance, and they sold insurance to a young lady. She bought a life insurance policy because her parents, what do you call it, co-signed a loan.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, "What are you giving her?" She goes, "I'm giving her, insurance." I said, "No, what are you giving her?" I said, "You're giving her peace of mind.
Mm,
Go to Home Goods, which is a store here, and you buy a decorative pillow. You give it to her and say, now you can sleep in it." That's a wow factor. So that
mm.
she's going to tell everyone, she's going to remember every time she wakes up, every time she goes to bed, she's going to think of you and a peace of mind. She's going to tell everyone, everybody's going to tell everyone. And it costs you $20, if that. But you're thinking about how it's going to affect them. So I had another client where I told him so they're doing a website. And I said, how do you tell your client that the website's done? Well, I sent him an email. I said, no, you can't do that. So I said, you get a card, you develop a card so it opens up to front like this way, and you put a little, because what happens if you have a storefront? You actually have a grand opening process. You have a red ribbon, you cut, you champagne. Well, website is the entrance to your business. So if you have a card, you have a red ribbon, you bring a bottle of champagne, you see a client, you cut it, say, here it is. That's a wow factor. You have to think more of a wow factor. How can I impress upon this person that I am important in their lives? And that's why they want me around, besides giving them good service, because that's assume everybody's getting good service. So that's how you build connections, real connections. You do something that's out of the ordinary, something that like, wow. And if you have a prospect and you reach out, 10 times and that got back to you, try something different. I actually had a client prospect that I actually sent it after I tried it over and over again. I couldn't get to see them. I sent them a fruit basket.
That's a very American thing, a fruit basket, isn't it?
Well, it was the only thing I could afford. It was good. It was a good return on investment. I'm like, okay, easy to do. And they called me, hey Steve, thank you very much, but I'm set. But I owe you 15-minute conversation for the fruit baskets. Come on up. I didn't sell her because she had everything set up, but I got to sit. So things out of the ordinary. I know people that send pizzas to people's houses, here, have a pie, like, okay, where'd it come from? A little note. So it's really, and if you're at the end result of it, like, I want to talk to this person and I can't reach them, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. Try it. Go for the grand slam, you know?
I, I love the fact that because when you mention fruit baskets, I'm like, well, is that not marketing then? If I'm going to send somebody a pizza, whether they want to talk to me or not, I'm marketing myself as my business. So sending someone a pizza or a fruit basket, but it is all part, like you said, there's no marketing without sales, no sales without marketing.
Well, the
So I need,
sales is to a person, marketing to his group. So you're not going to market to one person. You're going to do emails to 20,000 people. You're going to do videos. But once it's one to one, then it becomes sales.
yeah, yeah,
So that's that process of thinking like a salesperson, and then the sales process itself, the mental health that's in there. So it's a whole ecosystem of actually having a person that's relatable and can actually carry out these things to get more revenue. But also mentally, they're better at what they do.
yeah. So I think that was I love that. I love the whole metaphor of a dinner party and inviting. And I think that's a great way to look at sales and how anybody could start doing sales that way. And I genuinely love that, Stephen. So
And
Stephen, am I go
it
on?
takes away the mysticism of sales and
Yeah,
the fear of it all.
yeah. No, I love that. Is and thank you very much for being open and honest about bipolar as
Yeah.
well. I think that's another powerful conversation that we can have now.
Yeah.
If, and how has I love the fact that you said your wife does yoga and meditation as well, and I've got a feeling that your wife may, I don't want to make assumptions, have helped you a lot with maybe navigating the bipolar. How and when did bipolar arise for you within yourself, or what was it that you noticed about yourself?
Well, usually most people it comes out in their 20s, teenagers, 20s, whatever, young people, and that's when it starts. And I really didn't realize it until I went to see the psychiatrist, and he said, "Oh," and 10 minutes later, he goes, "Oh, you're bipolar." Like, and I was misdiagnosed by a general practitioner. And I tell you, the worst thing you do is get mental health from a general practitioner. They know nothing about, now I want to say nothing, I get criticized for that. They knew very little about mental health. And they gave me antidepressant, and that's the worst thing you give to somebody who's bipolar. So the side effects was crazy. Yeah.
I mean, the side effects of any antidepressant is not brilliant.
Well, yeah. So
One
it's
of the side
really the
effects
side
of an
effects.
antidepressant can
Yeah.
cause depression.
Well, yeah, it gets really bad when you're bipolar. It gets really bad. You know. And that really hurt my first marriage.
Yeah.
Really hurt, and not knowing it, I just thought I was depressed until I was misdiagnosed and given the wrong medicine. But about 10 years ago, I saw this guy and he goes, "All right, this is what you got to take." I'm like, "All right, that's it."
Yeah.
Now I can control it. Now it's usually about seasonal depression. That's when I get it bad, and I know to regulate myself. Otherwise, I can't get too manic. That I have to actually then there's a dive after that fact, and I know when it's going to happen based upon what I'm at, and I can feel it physically and mentally how it happens, and I can regulate it and make changes in what I'm doing. It's manageable.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you used meditation and yoga as a way to manage it?
Yeah, a little bit meditation, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Do you find that calms the conversations?
Well, I usually do it when I'm alone, so it's like I just focus on
I
one
mean the
thing.
internal conversation. Sorry,
Oh
I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah. Oh
specific.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing that you have to train your mind to do is go to a safe place. You go to a
Yes.
place where you take yourself out of here you are. And that's part of what we talk about is okay, where you are now and think about this. And if you could do that, or you could think about something else that diverts your mind. So I tell people my place is I have in my mind a big compound where my family can stay, which is humongous, right? And I'm building in my mind, right? And if you ever gone to Central Park, there's these big stones all around Central Park,
I've been
and
there.
that's what
Lovely.
my right. It's unique, right? If you've been to Central Park in New York, you know what they are, right? And that's where the wall is. So it's humongous, and I'm building in my head, and that's where I go when I'm like, okay, I can't think about this anymore. Let me go somewhere else, and that's what I put my energy on, and then it goes away.
Yeah. And it goes away,
Yeah, it goes away.
becomes manageable. Is that
Yeah,
because you've stopped thinking about it?
yeah, yeah. It diverts
That's
your
the
mind.
power of
It's
thought.
hard to do. It's hard to do. Start out with him. It takes a lot of practice.
It is. It's a
Yeah,
practice.
but it's doable.
Yeah. Honestly, Stephen, this was a lovely conversation.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for getting in
My pleasure.
contact. It's been lovely, and I
Yeah.
genuinely mean that, Stephen. I've enjoyed every conversation I've had in the podcast, to be fair, and I think this has been extremely highlighted. So I am going to say, is there anything else you want to share with all the viewers of the Mind Management Mentors podcast now? Is there anything else as a final passing word of sales goodness? What's your parting words?
I think one thing is to really look at yourself and not be hard on yourself. A lot of people will do that, and one way is to do what you could do everything you can do, and once you do everything you can do, then there's nothing else to do. There's no shame involved. There's no fear involved. Whatever it is, you give yourself up because again, it's faith based. You give yourself up and say, whatever happens, happens. And if you get to that point, then you're free. You're not worrying about anything else, and I think people don't do that.
Very true. Very true. It's been a pleasure having you on the Mind Management Mentors podcast, Stephen. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Cuddy. I
getting
really
back in
appreciate it too.
contact.
Had a great time.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much to everybody. If it's in the mind, it can be managed. Even sales can. This was all about sales and doing it in a mentally healthy way as well. And Stephen touched on some great points. A lot of people find this quite triggering when I say this, but I don't do shame. I learned a long time ago that shame is just such a negative force that brings you down to the lower echelons of the world. And I just made a conscious effort of years ago. I was like, I'm not going to do shame anymore. And so many people say to me, how do you show up in the world like that? Because I just do not have any shame. I'm happy to say I have no shame. I don't mind. I'm going to keep going. And on that, I think that's a really powerful thing. As always, please remember, like and subscribe, share, make a comment, get in contact so that we can get back in contact with you. If it's in the mind, it can be managed. And we'll see you in the next episode of If It's in the Mind, It Can Be Managed, the Mind Management Mentors podcast. Thank you, Stephen. We'll see you later.